All right, Shane. Next, let's kick it all day to Starkville, where Mississippi State. I'm loving the Pirate. We've got a more animated Pirate this season. He's getting very interesting with his pressers, but even he notes they were whooping up on Louisiana Tech, and then he says they basically quit in the middle of the game, and then there in the fourth quarter they decided to start whipping the Tech once again. So it was pretty interesting how that game played out. But this is a huge, important game here against NC State, who just destroyed South Florida in the opener. And I think this is one that given the fact that the point spread came out, it's a pick'em type game. I've seen a lot of people anticipate NC State to win this game. I'm not saying that I agree with that, but this is another hugely important game this week, don't you think?
Absolutely, Mike. I mean, people were talking about last week that Mississippi State got lucky there at the tail end of this thing, but it shouldn't have been that way. And you and I and the listeners know that Mississippi State should have won that game easily. And I think the big thing is it's the Pirates' second year, and your sophomore seasons, that there's expectations when it comes to that job, and expectations at Mississippi State, at any SEC school, should beat these ACC squads. Short of Clemson, you shouldn't have a problem. But I'm telling you, NC State's a good ball club, and Mississippi State, this is a good tune-up before they get in SEC play.
Mm-hmm. And good news for the Bulldogs. Malik Heath, the receiver, he'll be back for this matchup, Mike Leach has said. And how about this stat, Shane? I had no idea, but after last weekend's comeback win versus Louisiana Tech, we all know, biggest comeback in Mississippi State history. Mm-hmm. Mike Leach also has the biggest comeback win in Texas Tech history and the biggest comeback win in Washington State history. So, pretty fascinating, and I think it's just another feather in Mike Leach's cap that he is one hell of a football coach. You know what?
Man, he loves history so much. He didn't know he was making it.
But that's something he talked about, these fourth quarter comebacks and facing NC State. And this was gold. Apparently he knows everybody on the staff, but he was asked about that, and I just thought this was a terrific comment.
Back to kind of what you saw on film, was there anything different that Will Rogers did in that fourth quarter that he wasn't doing in the second, third quarter?
Yeah, he relaxed. He quit pressing. He quit trying to force things. I mean, because he did the same thing that our whole team did. And the thing that was kind of different about this experience is our whole team, it's almost like they thought with the same brain, because it wasn't like a lot of times there will be like one phase is doing one thing, one phase is doing the other. That wasn't the case with us. I mean, it was like literally the same. And so, it's kind of like the same offensive lineman you see getting him hit are the same ones mowing him down and giving him a long time to throw that fourth quarter, and the fourth quarter is when everybody's supposed to be tired. But, hey, they're 22 years old. When I was 22, I never got tired. So, we like to talk about it, but when I was that age, I didn't get tired, and at least relatively speaking. Some of you young folks in here, you don't know what tired is. And so I think that the biggest thing is the motivation, and the thing with football, you have to do it together, and so then they call it execution, and that's the thing, is everybody's got to do it together simultaneously, and it was like a switch. The one of the best examples of the whole thing was we start out the game, Tulu gets a long kickoff return because a bunch of people are getting their blocks, okay? So then after that on the kickoff returns, they're stuffing him inside the 20 because, on each play there'd be like three guys that decide, well, this one just doesn't matter as much, and maybe the other guy will make a play. And then on the last one, when we really needed it, we got a bunch of blocks. And so, it's a pretty good contrast to how it works when everybody does their job and how it works when people don't. So,
Hey, Mike. NC State, a team coming in here that obviously played very well last week, got a ton of rushing yards. It was like 268. That looked good under center. Just based on what you've seen from them, what problems on either side of the ball could they pose to your group, and how confident are you in your guys' chances against them, considering where you guys are at so far this season?
Well, we definitely have to get better this week. They're a good team. I think on defense they run to the ball well. I think they play with a lot of enthusiasm. The other thing, they got quite a bit of experience back. So we just got to play well. I mean, NC State's going to do whatever they do, and we just have to focus on ourselves and be the best team that we can be out there. And yeah, I mean, that's all we really have control over. I mean, so if we do our job the best we can, I mean, that's gives us the best chance. So,
Coach, Ruffin McNeil and Brian Mitchell, now on NC State staff, worked on U Attack. What was it like working with those guys, and what's it going to be like coaching against them on Saturday?
Well, I hadn't looked at it. I knew Ruff was there. I didn't know Brian was there too. Because I know 2/3 of that staff. Well, it'd be good to see him for like 30 seconds. That's about what you get. Everybody. One of the most popular questions, and I'm sure most of you guys have answered it or asked it. I mean, this isn't just some wistful walk down memory lane. I mean, maybe it would be if you didn't have the pressure of a football game. It'd be great. I mean, heck, take them all over Starkville. Hey, Brian Ruff, wait till you see this. I mean, have you ever had one of these? Trouble is it's kind of 30 seconds in passing. Hey, how you doing? Good to see you. How's the family? Oh, really? Your son's there now. I mean, it's kind of that stuff. So, and then and then you're pretty preoccupied with the problems the other team's presenting out there on the field, and you're trying to solve them.
All right, Shade. So the Pirates keeping it real on this one. You know what?
I love it, man. I love it. I'll tell you, though, the Pirate doesn't want comebacks. He wants blowouts. That's the records he's shooting for. But it is kind of funny. You could almost hear the wheels turning up there.
All right, Shade. So that's actually all I got on this episode. You got anything else before we hop off the line?
No, man. I know you're a little under the weather, but I appreciate you putting all this stuff together and hanging out with me, man. Week 1 is in the books, brother, and I'm telling you what, it was fantastic from start to finish. Let me ask you, because it's been a while. I mean, we broke down the games and stuff, but I want to ask you a question. Week 1, who was your biggest winner?
Oh, man, that's tough. The biggest winner. Man, you got me stumped here.
I'm sorry. I probably should have warmed you up. There's no wrong answer, Mike. You're gonna make one of 14 really happy. You're gonna piss everybody else off. So,
How about, one of the biggest winners for me is Ole Miss. Maybe it's just
Okay.
we just got done watching them play, but it looks like they've got. Again, everybody's saying, "Well, look who they were playing. Louisville sucks." They very well may, but at no point did Ole Miss defense make anyone look like they sucked last year. So that was huge. And the one that I've been calling the biggest wild card here in the SEC, and again, we can mock their competition all we want, but Kentucky now has the forward pass in their game, and I'm not sitting here. I've already started to see it. It's ridiculous. People comparing this Will Levis to Joe Burrow. Come on, let's pump the brakes. I mean, Joe Burrow is one of the greatest of all time, but
Right.
he doesn't need to be that because Kentucky's so dominant on the ground game. I mean, most of these passes he's hitting that were big plays in the opener were on first down, and that's because people are so terrified of Kentucky's running game that they kind of have to stack that box. They don't have to respect the pass. So I'm going to be, fascinated to see how Missouri tries to defend this thing because it really looks to be pick your poison with Kentucky's offense. So my answers to that would be Kentucky and Ole Miss at this point.
I love it. I love it. And let me follow it up with one more question. And I'm not going to say disappointed because there's a lot of things we could be disappointed about week one, but we got college football, baby, and I'm excited it's on our TV. But I will ask you this. Out of all the programs that you may be a little disappointed in, is there one that you see to bounce back the quickest? Who do you expect to bounce back week two that maybe had a little sluggish start? Maybe they get in the game one, jitters out, but number two, you expect them to hit the ground running. Who's your bounce back team this week, Mike?
Yeah, I could go two different directions here, and I think you're going to like this, Shane. Tennessee and Arkansas. I mean, both of them, the fans are a little antsy about what they saw week one, but with a win here in week two, I think that calms all the nerves, and it sets, maybe some people have low expectations for those two. If they get these wins here this weekend, I think it's all gravy from here on out. I think they'll exceed the expectations that other people have for them.
Oh, Mike, you know how to get me. You know how to get me, brother. Oh, well, brother, I appreciate you weathering the storm here and getting on. I look forward to previewing a few more games with you this week. And, man, it's just right around the corner. So it already feels like it's starting to slip away, Mike. It's always hard. You wait for that first game, and now you're one in. You're like, oh, man, how many we got left? So I'm pumped up, man. I appreciate you jumping on.
Absolutely, and I appreciate each and every one of you for checking us out. And thank you, Shane, for joining me as always. We'll catch you on the next one.
All right, see you guys. Go Vols.